A flash of golden light illuminated the shadowy docks as Vixen channeled her totem's power. Instead of calling upon the traditional might of land animals, she focused on a creature she'd studied extensively for this mission: the mimic octopus. The ability to change not just color but texture and shape would be crucial for infiltrating Maxwell Lord's latest operation. "Show me what you've got," Vixen whispered to her totem, feeling its ancient magic course through her body. Her skin rippled and shifted, taking on the mottled patterns of weathered concrete. She pressed herself against a shipping container, practically disappearing as her body matched its surface perfectly. The intel from Oracle had pointed to this location, a seemingly abandoned port facility that had seen suspicious activity in recent weeks. Lord was reportedly using it to coordinate a massive tech theft operation, but no one had managed to get close enough to gather proof. 2 armed guards passed by, their boots crunching on loose gravel. Vixen held perfectly still until they rounded the corner, then began moving along the container's surface like living art. When she reached the edge, she spotted her first target, a maintenance worker in greasy coveralls heading toward the main warehouse. Vixen focused on the worker's appearance, letting the totem's power flow through her again. Within seconds, she had perfectly replicated his outfit, build, and even the way he walked with a slight limp. She dropped down and fell into step behind a group of actual workers, just another face in the crowd. Inside the warehouse, the scale of Lord's operation became clear. Dozens of shipping containers had been converted into makeshift labs, each humming with stolen technology. Vixen caught snippets of conversation about quantum processors and neural interfaces as she moved through the space, careful to maintain her disguise. A commotion near the center of the warehouse drew her attention. Maxwell Lord himself had arrived, dressed impeccably in a tailored suit that seemed out of place in the gritty surroundings. He was berating a technician about delivery schedules while gesturing at a holographic display. Vixen needed to get closer, but the maintenance worker's appearance wouldn't cut it. Lord's security detail was keeping all non-essential personnel at a distance. She ducked behind some crates and channeled the mimic octopus again, this time taking on the appearance of one of Lord's personal guards, complete with dark suit and earpiece. She straightened her tie and strode purposefully toward the group, nodding to the other guards who barely gave her a second glance. Now she could hear every word of Lord's conversation. "The buyers are getting impatient," he was saying. "If we don't have the neural interface network online by tomorrow night's demonstration, we lose everything. I don't care what corners you have to cut. Make it happen." Vixen's eyes narrowed. A demonstration tomorrow night meant they were running out of time. She needed to find hard evidence of the stolen tech and Lord's involvement, something concrete enough for law enforcement to act on. Lord suddenly turned and looked directly at her. "You, take Chen and sweep the perimeter again." "Something doesn't feel right." Vixen nodded crisply and headed for the exit, maintaining her cover. Once outside, she broke away from the other guard and made her way to the facility's administrative section. Time for one more change. The totem's power flowed once more, and Vixen took on the appearance of Lord's executive assistant, whom she'd spotted earlier with her tablet and security badges. The transformation was perfect, right down to the designer glasses and imperious expression. She breezed past security and entered Lord's private office, quickly accessing his computer terminal. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she downloaded incriminating files and shipping manifests. Just as she was about to finish, the door opened. "What are you doing in here?" Lord demanded, his face darkening with suspicion. "I left you coordinating with the buyers." Vixen's heart raced, but she kept her composure. "Just updating the demonstration schedule, sir. The tech team reported some conflicts." She gestured at the screen while discreetly pocketing the thumb drive. Lord moved closer, his eyes narrowing. "Really? That's interesting, considering I just left the real Miss Chen conducting that very task in the conference room." Vixen was already moving as Lord lunged for her, his fingers barely brushing her arm as she vaulted over his desk. She dropped the assistant's appearance, briefly showing her true form as Vixen before taking on the mimic octopus's abilities one final time. Her body seemed to liquefy, flowing through the narrow gap under the door before Lord could trigger the office's security lockdown. Alarms blared as she sprinted through the facility, her skin constantly shifting to match her surroundings. Guards rushed past, unable to spot her against the walls and equipment. She made it to the perimeter fence and scaled it quickly, her camouflage holding until she was safely away. Hours later, Vixen watched from a rooftop as federal agents swarmed the port facility. The evidence she'd gathered was more than enough to bring down Lord's entire operation. On her phone, a message from Oracle blinked. "Nice work. Didn't know your totem could do that." Vixen smiled, touching the ancient artifact at her throat. "Neither did I," she murmured. "But sometimes the best predator is the one no one sees coming." The totem seemed to warm in response, as if pleased with how they'd expanded its usual repertoire. Together, they'd proven that sometimes the most powerful animals aren't the largest or strongest, but the ones that can adapt to any situation. She made a mental note to study more unusual creatures. After all, you never knew when the ability to mimic a mimic might come in handy again.